Greetings and welcome to week 8. We are past the halfway mark of Intro to Law Enforcement. Midterms seemed to went pretty well last week. I see a lot of good scores. Yes, we had to tweak a couple of questions. Sometimes when you're writing a 100-question test, your fingers don't hit the right button in the right place. But I think we got all those taken care of. If you ever think you need to challenge a question, especially with an open book test when you can look right there and there's the answer and I've mistakenly hit something else, bring it to my attention, okay? I'm a fairly benevolent dictator. I don't mind making up for fixing mistakes I've made. So if you ever see something like that, be sure to bring it up. But like I said, midterm went pretty good. We are in week 2 of our 3-week study of the court system. Last week, week 1, we studied the players, the people that make up the court system, their functions, their pluses and minuses. I tried to concentrate a little bit on lawyers. They seem to be they like to think, the star of the show. And there's usually a lot of interesting things to discuss when it comes to lawyers. Question kind of bombed a little bit. We didn't quite, if we were doing this live and I was walking through the desks and, leading a conversation and I throw a question out and people just kind of stare at me, then I know I need to tweak the question a little bit. I don't quite get that feedback here. It takes me a little bit to realize that nobody's answering the question, to realize, oh, maybe I need to tweak it a little bit. So tweak we did. We changed the question a little bit last week. But don't hesitate either, if we're discussing lawyers and you want to go off or anything, you want to go off on a tangent, that's what would happen in class. Somebody'd raise their hand and say, yeah, well, what about the bailiff or something? So don't hesitate and don't think we have to stay locked onto the system. The discussion board is just for that. It's the way we discuss things like we would in class. So feel free to take us off in some other directions if you want. Speaking of if you want and taking us off on different things, I understand that possibly the extra credit question didn't have the right instructions on it last week, or they didn't come through, or just how to get the extra credit. I've posted that in the announcements. You got an email on it, so hopefully everybody sees that now. What I'm looking for is a review of the class now that we're halfway through it. It's anonymous. You send your answers to somebody else. He sanitizes it and takes your name off and ships it to me. And so I get more of a little bit up front. What does work? What doesn't work? What's been good? What's been bad? I've been using this text for a long time. I really like this text. What do you guys think? So I really need this midpoint. You are the very first, sometimes I liken you to lab rats, I'm sorry, but you are the very first cohort to take this class in this program. So if it needs some tweaking, if things are going really, really well, I'd like to know that. If things are going only really well, I'd like to know that. So again, it's anonymous. It's worth 15 points. So send me a review. Thank you. This week we're in week 2 of the court system, and we're going to look at the actual trial itself now. We're going to look at a criminal trial. What happens from citation or arrest all the way up through sentencing. So it's a neat chapter. We're going to talk about in the discussion board something that's got a lot of play lately, the CSI effect. And if you do a search, please do a search. Search for CSI effect in Alaska. There's been some neat articles written about it up here, and it'd be neat to talk about that. So do a little search on that. Other than that, that's what we got. We got trials this week, and I'll see you in class.